What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I've been wanting to make a video about the PlayStation Plus PC app for a couple of weeks now, but it's just been really busy. And also I was hoping we'd get some more information and some more fixes, but we just haven't. And I'm also making this video because I'm still getting a good amount of comments asking me how to fix some issues. I'm getting some DMs about the same thing. And honestly, the issues you guys are asking about, you can't fix on your own. And these issues are games that have been pulled since launch day that aren't there anymore. They were pulled because they didn't work or they were mislabeled. And also games that are still on here that are working for me. Say, like, if I click on Spider-Man Miles Morales, we got the PS4 version. I can launch it. I can play the game. I have a video on the channel. It ran great. Even though it's 30 FPS PS4 version, it ran great here on cloud. But the original Spider-Man's missing along with other games, and we'll talk about that more. And for some people, they're still clicking on this and seeing the PS3 logo and it won't launch. I'll throw up a picture here. On launch day, I had the same thing. Spider-Man Miles Morales, PS3 wouldn't launch, but the original Spider-Man was there, and I was able to launch that, and then it stopped working. They pulled it, and then Miles Morales got fixed for me. But the thing is, with messages I'm getting, and this is not just for the US, this is just globally in all different regions here for the service, that games like Spider-Man Miles Morales, Ghost of Tsushima, and others are still mislabeled as PS3 classic games from PS1, PS2, still mislabeled as PS3 and not launching. So guys, you can't fix that on your own. That's something that Sony's got to be working on for the missing games that need to come back that weren't working, and for games that are still on here showing up that still won't launch for you. Now, I have a person who's been great at commenting. Let me bring this up really quick here. He's been updating a lot of his experience with the PS Plus app since launch, especially on my channel, and has done an awesome job of just throwing us some updates here and there. Now, this update was from about a week ago from the time I'm making this video on July 12th, 2022. Update from the US region. Yesterday, most of the games were removed from the PC app were brought back, but with no avail. Those games couldn't be launched still. NBA 2K22, Uncharted Lost Legacy, Saints Row Remastered, Toy Story 2, Uncharted Collection, Spider-Man I saw come and go again as well, etc. Today, those games were removed again, so I believe they're trying to solve the issue, doing some testing in these days. On the other hand, though, one game that was fixed, Days Gone, is now playable on the service. I was having issues with Days Gone as well. I think mine got fixed a little bit before Farajako's here, yeah, that game seems to be launching fine now. But the thing is, the PC app is plagued with issues. It still has a ton of issues. There hasn't been anybody really talking a lot about this, and I haven't seen Sony come out and publicly address it. If you guys know of some media that you can point me to that Sony addressing the pulled games, the failed launching of games, and things like that. But this was an article from June 27th, just a couple of weeks ago, acknowledging some of these problems. And it says, when PS Plus launched in Europe last week, right before the US launch, and same problems for us when it launched here, reports started emerging that players using the PlayStation Plus app were having problems playing classic games on their PC. And it seemed like those problems are still continuing this week. Not only are some games unplayable or unable to be played, but some games are also missing completely, which we've been talking about. There's quite a few games, decent games, missing still from the service. Now, Spider-Man, take for example the original Spider-Man that was on the PlayStation Plus app at launch, and it was on a couple of years ago when I played it in 2020 on the PlayStation Now app. That game is on PlayStation 5, able to be downloaded with your PlayStation Plus Premium sub. That's all great, but the streaming ability has been taken away on the console as well. So it's not just the app on PC. These games that won't launch on the app or that have been pulled, like the ones we've been talking about, download okay on my PS5, but the streaming has also been pulled from there as well. So it's not just exclusive to the app, it's the service altogether, and getting these games to run in the cloud. There's obviously some kind of issues there. So for this article, they're saying there's two main issues with the PlayStation Plus app on PC. The first is PS4, PS2, and PlayStation classic games are being mislabeled as PS3 games, which is what I was mentioning. So that's keeping them from starting. Any game that you see that's like not a PS3 game and it's labeled as a PS3 game, it's probably not going to work. Some of the titles affected include Marvel Spider-Man Game of the Year Edition, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, several Jax and Daxter games, and every single one of the 13 PlayStation Classics games. Now, for me, those have started working. The the classic games. So that might have been a Europe thing. I don't know if you guys here in the US have had trouble with the classic games as much as the PS4 games. The PS4 games are what we've really been having trouble with. Now, they also go through here and list out about 100 games missing from the app. Now, I'm still trying to confirm a lot of this because I felt like 100 games missing from the app that were supposed to be included or that were mislabeled and not launching seemed like a lot, but it could very well be accurate. And so I'm not going to read through all these, but I'll just scroll down through here and you can see for yourself. But there's about 100 games that they're listing, including some of the God of War, Fallout games, Lost Planet, things like that, which I do know those are missing. Yeah, I do know those ones are missing for sure because I was looking for those. Some more Lego games. So Red Dead Redemption 2 is actually back on the app. Let me pull that up right here. Red Dead Redemption 2 right here, and it's labeled correctly and I can launch it. So like I said, take the list from a couple weeks ago for the Europe launch with a grain of salt, but there's still a lot of games from here that are missing or that won't launch. So be sure to check your PlayStation 5 or your PC app and see which games are or aren't there that you're looking for and that do launch or don't launch or that may still be mislabeled as PS3, because I'm still getting a lot of messages from people with games being mislabeled as PS3 and not launching, or games missing altogether. And I hope Sony will get this straightened out soon, because people are paying for that PlayStation Plus premium sub. And I realize that a majority of their business is over on the consoles, that people on the PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4 are downloading these games. I really like what Sony has done with the PlayStation Plus sub tiers, the Essential, the Premium, all that kind of stuff they've got going on, the Extra. I had 2 years of PSNOW stacked already, so I got 2 years of the best PlayStation Plus Premium that they have, because that's the way they work that. So I'll be able to enjoy this for the next couple of years and see where it goes. I'm a huge fan of Game Pass as well. I think that's a great value. I think this is offering some great value. We're getting I think Sony's going to get fairly aggressive with adding games to the service. I don't know that they'll do their first party games anytime soon for day and dates, but they'll keep adding them as they age a little bit. And I think we'll see a lot more like AAA, AA, and indie third party type games come day and date. We are getting Stray in a few days on the 19th, I believe it is, in the service. So that looks like a pretty cool little indie title that there has a bit of hype around it. So I won't have to buy that on my PlayStation. That's great. I'll buy it on PC to play on my Steam Deck on the go. But yeah, so they've got some work to do with that. Guys, besides that, I'm getting a lot from you about controller support here. And here's the thing. This PlayStation Plus Premium app is still basically built to work with a DualShock 4 controller plugged in, not even Bluetooth. I still can't get mine to work if it's not plugged in and it's Bluetooth. And that's with the proper controller. I have the DualSense controller from my PS5. Doesn't work at all. Plugged in, wireless, doesn't work at all for me. The Xbox controller, we have those workarounds with the DualShock 4 emulator and with REWASD, some software you can use to remap and get things working, but I'm even having trouble with those lately since the last couple of updates to this app. There was, with my DualShock 4 emulator video, I was able to use the right stick on the Xbox controller to swipe as if you were swiping on the touchpad. That's not working anymore, so I can still click the touchpad, emulate the touchpad click to get past certain things in the game, but now a lot of the swiping and stuff just isn't working the way it was since the last app update here. So another big thing is not just cleaning this up, bringing back games that are missing, getting games to launch as opposed to. Better controller support is really needed. Even if it's just the DualSense controller plus wireless for your DualShock or your DualSense, at least that would open things up a little bit. Because it only makes sense that people that have a PlayStation 5 should be able to take that same controller and play PlayStation Plus on their PC. But you can't. You need a different controller, even though the DualSense does work to control your games on your PS5 when you're streaming them. You could come over to the PC, try to stream the same game, and that controller won't work. You got to plug in the DualShock 4 or work with a bunch of workarounds. So obviously Sony's got some work to do with controller support as well. Hopefully that's coming really soon for everybody, because I know it gets frustrating as well when you're trying to play these games on your PC. And the last thing that I'll mention, and again, I know this app's not a huge priority for them most likely, not only do I want to see the PS Plus app go to more places besides just PC, like other cloud, like Xbox has done, like Stadia, like all the others, GeForce Now. I really want to be able to do that on my phone and other devices. So we want to see that, but also the user experience and UI is pretty rough. We don't have any searching. Things are obviously in their own categories and in alphabetical order, but I don't know. It just feels a mess to me. I would like to just see it a little bit cleaner, have a search, have a easier way to go into things, maybe easier categories or tabs I could click into to go to certain games instead of just having them all lined up like this. I like the PlayStation 5 UI for the PlayStation Plus Premium. I think it's pretty clean. It's easy to go in and start looking for everything and finding what you want. I would like to see the PS Plus app kind of mimic that and do the same thing and really get cleaned up and work nice. So a better UI, better user experience, bring back the missing games that we're supposed to have with the sub, get games launching that are broken, and we definitely need better controller support. At least the PS5 DualSense and wirelessly for the DualShock and the DualSense would be great. All right, guys, thanks a lot for coming to check out the video. It might have been a little bit long, but there's been a few things I wanted to talk about with this app. I think it's a bit of a mess, even though I really like the new subscription from PlayStation, especially on my PS5. We need to see some work be put in here to get this where it needs to be. All right, thanks a lot for coming to watch. As always, if you haven't yet, subscribe, thumbs up, ring the bell, and I'll see you guys in the next one.